Hey everybody, this is Trading Bitcoin. We have Nick on today and Tone is back. He's been streaming throughout Christmas, so that's good fun. We may have a surprise guest later, but Nick, thanks for joining.
Hey, good to be here.
So we get the cloud expert and Tone, shape up, man.
Yes. Oh, it's great. Like, I'm really liking this. I keep showing up. Like my next door neighbor didn't recognize me, thought someone was trying to break into my apartment. That was fun yesterday. But yeah, no, it's great. I keep catching people by surprise with this cut. I love it.
Nice. All right, and there's definitely lots of stories, so this one should be really fun. All right, let's hit it. We got both you maestros.
All right. Oh yeah, this is on me now. It's not news. All right, let's go to the price and where am I? All right, just a quick look at the registrations of Unconfiscatable. Nick's playing in the game. Leah's playing in the game. I got to reach out to the other celebs. And man, we got to replace Willy Woo here. I got a couple of people. They'll be cool. I got to just double check and confirm them. And yeah, registrations. What do we got? We got 35 people left at this price, and we got 7 spots currently up for bid for the tournament. We have about probably 60, 70 people already in the tournament, 100 maximum. So you guys got to get on it.
Hey, Nick, want to make a side bet?
There's going to be a couple of bounties. Probably whoever knocks out me and whoever knocks out Doug Polk will probably get their 0.1 Bitcoin entry fee back. So there'll be a couple of bounties. And what do you want to do on a side bet? Who lasts longer, you or I?
Yeah, I just realized I was on mute. I'm definitely down for a side bet as long as Leah's in on it, because I've noticed her betting skills are subpar for sure. She's on a roll with
Well, it's not fair. We've only been betting Redskins versus everybody else because Redskins always lose.
Isn't that life? Isn't that life for you, though?
That is. And yes, the three of us need to think about some side bets because I am in. Yes, probably last person on the table, but let's make it crazier.
I know this. You might have missed this, Leah, but there's no chop at the final table. Not that you'll make it to the final table, but everybody's taking down the house on this one. Is that right, Tom?
Yeah, no, there's not going to be any chops. That's ridiculous. There's absolutely no chops. But yeah, but we'll do some side bets. It'll be a lot of fun. As long as they're public, they have to be announced on Twitter.
Done. All right.
All right. Let's talk charts. So here's the monthly chart. This thing changes so much day by day. We only have a few days to go. I don't even know what today's date is. Today's the 26th. Oh wow, we still have like a week. Jesus. Yeah, so we still have a long way to go. This still looks like a reversal candle to me, but let's see how it ends. It's a little bit lower now. Here's my weekly chart. My weekly chart also still looks like a reversal candle, like a reversal of trend, short term. You have a giant last week, was a huge up week. Not a surprise that we're pulling back a little bit, but according to the weekly candlesticks, this is not something to worry about yet. Let's see where we close the week. Today is only Wednesday. We still have half a week to go.
Tone, when you say reversal candle, do you mean reversal as in this downtrend, reversing that?
Yeah. It's not literally a reversal candle. Yeah. It's just a big upswing off of a reasonable point of support, being the 200-week moving average, and the fact that we were grossly oversold on all metrics. So it is a bit of a reversal of trend. For now, let's see if it lasts. I'm getting close to giving up on my $5,000 target, but not today. I'm not ready to give up on that target today. Talk to me tomorrow, and the answer might change. But for now, this
still a plausible target. It's still a plausible target. I can agree with that.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Leah.
Yeah.
Are you keeping an eye on the live chat, or should I?
I am, and you got a tip if you want to answer it now. But question to Nick in regards to what you just said. What's your bottom? Do you think that we're seeing a bottom, or what's your target? What do you think?
So I'm apprehensive to say that this is the bottom. Obviously, nothing's confirmed. I mean, this is really just chop. If you look at it like on a weekly scale, this is really ranging so far. This hasn't reversed either trend. This hasn't reversed the bear trend, and it definitely hasn't broken upwards completely. So, I mean, it looks good. That last 5 impulses, once Tone's done with his TA, I can go over it too, I guess, if we have time. But those last 5 impulses were really, really strong. Really strong. We haven't seen anything like that volume-wise for quite a while, months. So we'll see. 5,500 is my breaker mark on being able to say with certainty that we have bottomed out. It's actually 5,600. So
really, mine's the opposite. Like 5,500 is where I would be looking to enter short positions because
that's it. So let me clarify. Yeah, that's a decision point. I think a break above 5,600 and support found there, then we start testing 6,000 from there, because that little range right there, 5,600.
No, I would need significantly higher prices. I would need a move up to at least 7,500 and then a pullback down to 5,000 with a strong break off of 5,000 going back above 7,500. So it's not even the first time we make it to 7,500. It's the second time we make it to 7,500.
Yeah, but we've had this gigantic dip down. I think a change or a support above 5,600 would just completely change the structure of this dip. And I'd call it a shakeout at this point, this last little dip. If that happens, we rally up to like 5,600, find support from there.
I would be very surprised to even see this above 6,000. That's pretty much my ultimate maximum. So we will see how that one goes.
To be clear, because I know a lot of people are thinking that I'm saying we're going to that. I'm not saying we're going to that. I'm just saying that's what my bull signal would be at that point.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not gonna change from a bear to a bull until we break 7,500 for the second time after a noticeable pullback from 7,500. So we got like months and months to go. I mean, I don't see that happening anytime soon. But that's my as it stands currently, right? Like if we fall below 3,000, then all of those metrics go down. Like if we fall all the way to 2,000, then you lower the 7,500 down to 5,000. And now we're talking the same thing. Now we have to rally to 5,000, reverse at 5,000, fall to 3,000, reverse from 3,000, break above 5,000, and then I'll be a bull. So the lower we go, the lower my upper targets are to turn from a bear market to a bull market. I still see $60,000 prices next year. As of right now, tomorrow might change. Who knows? All right, let's jump over to the daily chart. The daily chart did go bearish according to several metrics yesterday. That was the reversal candle being the shooting star candle, got rejected a few dollars shy of the setup trend line. I really wanted to see this make it to a 9. It was an 8 at one point in this candle. Price flipped to a red 1. Red 2 went below a red 1, went below the reversal candle. The current candle is not very encouraging. We are about to close at a lower daily low on this downturn. As long as we stay above this blue line, which currently sits at just under 3,600, as long as we stay above that line, I remain somewhat bullish in this move to 5,000, but my confidence in that is shaky. The one that I really want to talk about is the 12-hour chart, because I'm looking at this failed cup and handle where where we got rejected by the setup trend line, and also got rejected by this 9. And this reminded me so much of what happened to Bitcoin on a daily chart. Unfortunately, I have flipped my daily chart from Bitfinex to Bitstamp. And this is one of the things that I worried about, because by doing that, I lost my annotations. So I'm going to go back to Bitfinex just for the purposes of bringing back my annotation. I show you what I mean if I bring back my annotations. So once again, if you just look at this pattern here, it's we have this cup and handle, and with a 9 that and a rejection of setup trend. So if I go to the daily scale and I zoom out back to, I think, like April or something, right there. If I zoom in on that, I just looked at it this morning, and it just brought back all of these memories of this situation here, which happened back in February and March. and you can see that we had a very similar situation right here. We had the low of 6,000. We came into this big cup and handle, same thing. And we also had a rejection of the setup trend line. And we did have a reversal candle here. And we didn't quite make it to a 9, but we made it to a 9 on the second go around. And then we started to pull back after the handle. And this was a very similar failed breakout from a cup and handle off the yearly lows at the time. And that led us to significantly lower prices. So looking at this 12-hour chart with a similarly drawn cup and handle, also a rejection with the setup trend line, and a 9 that this time took place on the first run up to the setup trend line versus the second one. We did break the setup trend line on the second go around like we did back there. The only real difference is because this is a 12-hour chart and that one's a daily chart, but there's not much difference between the two. So yeah, so that really brought back a bunch of memories. And for me personally, Nick, what do you think about this that I just described?
Let me unmute myself. Yeah. So I heard cup and handle and was doing some other stuff. So no comment on that. Sorry, was not paying attention fully on that part.
It's all good, man. No, I'm just saying, just look at this daily cup and handle back in February and March. Right. And it was being rejected by the setup trend line. On the second go around, we broke the setup trend line. We were not able to pull through it. And then we just turned down and went to new lows. Is just eerie similar to what I have drawn on a 12-hour chart.
Do you have the CMF and the OBV pulled up on that too?
I could.
A lot of people miss the volume makeup of a cup and handle, which is
right.
Key
so
in identifying that.
So the CMF on that daily cup and handle was very, very good. Like I expected this cup and handle to break out, even more so than the current one. The CMF looked good. I don't have the OBV pulled up. I could. The RSI looked good. The MACD looked good. Like I'm pretty sure the OBV looked good as well. That was a very good daily trend. Now on this 12-hour one, the CMF was not as good. It started to look good near the end. It still looks fairly good, but the daily CMF.
That's a bigger spike up on the CMF though, coming out of, you're on the 12-hour there, coming out
I'm on a 12-hour, right? The thing is, if I flip this to a daily, the CMF is a disaster.
Yeah, but the thing with the CMF is, right, especially on the daily, so it's still going to be lagging in a sense, and you can get a more expanded view of it by dropping down a time frame, kind of like you did there to the 12-hour. Like the other day on the daily, there was a huge bear div showing before we had our rally pop-up. And I had a couple of people asking about that, about it. Just CMF looked like hell before we popped up. But if you broke down to like the 12-hour, the 6-hour, it was actually showing a lot of bullish activity and kind of indicating it was going to pop up, and it did. So
but again, but the daily was still the king over the short term, and now we're going back down a bit, So yeah, your short term can give you a nice pop on that time level, but the daily still makes me very nervous going into next month.
Nick, you were talking about divergence yesterday. You definitely have been teaching me that. What were you seeing yesterday when you were looking at divergence and talking about it?
Are you talking about the daily CMF divergence? I was just yeah. So that was a couple days ago. I mean, I can share it real quick. It's kind of in hindsight now, unless Tone is still got some.
No, go for it. I cannot. You know what? Yeah, I'm pretty much done with Bitcoin. Nothing on the 4-hour and stuff. And but we are gonna have another guest at the top of the hour, and I did want to spend 5 to 7 minutes on traditional markets. So do your thing, but let's try to keep it short.
All right, cool. So yeah, that daily. Let me go down to that real quick. That daily divergence. So it was right here on this. It had kind of broken this trend that we'd been seeing for a while. This was a bear or a bull div as price was finding lower lows, but the CMF was trending upwards. Well, if you kind of place this little trend right here, a lot of people that use the CMF, whoops, not green. Let's go pink. We're noticing this gigantic divergence right here, indicating a lot of sell pressure, but price was going up. But if you had dropped down to the 6 hour at the time, this was the same time period right here. It was actually beginning to pull itself out of this divergence. And I'll tell people sometimes when I'm teaching them how to do TA flow, which is assessing all of your indicators, divergences, and so on from like your highest time frame down to your lowest time frame, and then back up and confirming them, that sometimes when you spot divergences on your higher time frames, it's best to drop down to lower time frames and monitor those to see if that high time frame divergence can actually correct itself and not play out such as that one did. But that's my thoughts on that portion of it. I guess I can, since I'm already screen sharing, let me switch tabs here if it'll allow me. This is what I'm looking at short term right now. I've been watching for this ABC correction. We retested this fifth, made a higher high actually. It completely made sense if you dig into Elliott waves on different time frames. We won't get into that though. But now I'm looking for an ABC correction similar to this. This A should actually pull down a little bit further, but we'll leave it there for now. And then from there, based on how powerful this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 was, and this retest on that, I expect another 5 impulses up, which aligns fairly well with what Tone is saying about 5,000. Mine is a little bit more conservative on our next top. Give me 1 second to load and I'll pull up here. So assuming this is the top of those impulses, which it most definitely is, and assuming this is our bottom right there, and my trading view is lagging really bad. Okay, there we go. Conservatively, I'm looking at that one spot, 46.95, for the end of potentially our third or our fifth, I guess, impulse up. But I mean, Elliott waves are kind of bullshit. But generally, that's what I'm looking at. I'll pay attention to Elliott waves as long as they're making sense. Sometimes they don't make sense. Lately, they have been. They've been making perfect sense. But that's what I'm looking at over the next couple of days.
Thanks, Nick. All right. Oh, you put us back up. Hey, Tone. All right. You want to do traditional markets? I mean, it's crazy right now. They rebounded a bit. Well, Powell's saying 100% safe. No way. Tyler's saying that he's going to sell his inverse funds. He thinks
I'm sure he already did.
Really?
I'm sure Tyler is out of the inverse funds. This is what my day was today, right? So I got up. My gym is like a 30-minute drive away because I live in the boondocks of New York City, and I go to the gym at 9, finish at 10, 30-minute drive, 30+ minute drive home. I had to get on Freedom's Phoenix. That was a 2-hour interview. So I didn't get a chance to look at the market until like 5 minutes before our show. So I had no idea they were even up. And I'm looking at the futures now. The futures did bottom out overnight, went all the way down to 23.15. This is a strong move today. Again, one of the first rules of trading that I learned when I was studying to be a trader from professionals, they said never trade the day before or the day after a major holiday. So today is the day after a major holiday. Nobody should be trading today. Nobody should have been trading on Monday either. So if you didn't trade today or Monday, you're exactly where you were on Friday. So you should have exited your positions on Friday, and now you wait. But now we're coming up on yet another holiday. This is why I never traded at the end of December. I would wait. Now, as far as the market is concerned, this is the futures. As you can see, the futures did make it to its bottom point, overshot it by the day before and after the holiday. We are in a red 8. There will be a red 9 tomorrow. The market is 2 hours away from closing, and there's no way in hell we are going to go all the way to 2,500, and there's no way in hell we're going to open at 2,500 tomorrow. So there will be a 9. Now, the market rebounded on the 8. I expected the market to rebound this week. Whether this is a sustained or not, I don't know. But what I do know is this. This is a beautiful weekly reversal candle. Even though the week is not over, we have 2 more days. Now, I drew this channel long ago, and you can see how we've hit this channel twice, and they were both beautiful reversal candles. This was back around the same time period 2 years ago. In January of 2016, And in January and February of 2016, we crashed from the top of this channel at 2,100 down to the bottom of this channel of 1,800. That was $400 on approximately, what was the high? That was that was almost, that was like a 300 something point drop on 2,150. This time around, we overshot the channel. So I'm not surprised we're going to overshoot the channel to the downside. But in case we don't, this is a beautiful reversal candle. It's only a 4 of 9 on the weekly scale. So we'll see what happens. I think the market is short-term oversold. The daily was going to come up on a 9 tomorrow. I would have loved to see a reversal candle today. I would have loved to see today's candle end as a hammer candle. That's not what we're getting. We're getting more of a, it's still a good enough rebound. I would not be in short positions right now. The time to short was below the blue line, because remember, above the blue line, you were still fidgety. You were still going up a lot, down a lot, up a lot, down a lot. But when you broke this blue line, when you broke 2,600, that was the time to go short. I think I made that clear on this podcast. And the time to get very cautious about your short was going to be the bottom of the purple channel. Both of these lines have been on my charts for weeks, if not months. And that is what you were looking for. And it played out perfectly. I would rather time this bounce to the upside than try to continue shorting the market. I don't know if this is going to be sustained to new all-time highs, but I have not changed my mind that the stock market will make new all-time highs before Bitcoin will. I have not changed my mind on that. Quick glance at oil. Oil bounced as well with the market, a little bit unexpected. That's a pretty big bounce in oil. Not exactly sure why. I have not looked at any of the news. This one surprises me more on the oil front. It's a daily chart. Let me glance at a weekly. Yeah, that's a beautiful reversal candle. That one's a bit surprising. I have no idea how gold did. Gold is pulling back. I expected gold to run into trouble in this vicinity. And that's pretty much it. I looked at the platinum and palladium the other day. I'm just going to close these. I'm not going to look at them again. All right, Nick, your thoughts on the market? And
Tone, before I sign off in 2 minutes, I do have a question for you on oil.
Oh, that's actually what I was going to ask about. How's WTI doing?
My favorite. Hey, Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy's joining us. Yeah, Leah's got to get going in a few minutes, and we're gonna cover a couple of stories as well. Well, that was WTI. When I pulled up oil, that's what it was. That was WTI.
Oh, I must not have been looking.
Oh yeah, that's the. I'll go back to screen share for a second. I mean, that's oil futures, right? I mean, that's kind of what it is. That's the CL1 perpetual. That's the CL1 continuous, which is WTI.
So the question is, did you think that it was in oversold territory prior? I mean, we had a nice little deep WTI chat prior.
Yeah, no, I did. I thought it was. I did think it was an oversold territory, and that hence the bounce. You have this weekly reversal candle right here the week of November 26th. You did get your 9 sequential, though it wasn't perfected. But then when it continued to drop big time last week, that's basically a continuation phase. And oil is now telling me that we are in for the countdown phase toward 13. Now, oil was a bit oversold in general, but look, there's no divergence in your RSI. There's no divergence in your MACD. There's nothing here is telling me that the oil drop is over. Now, I was very cautious on being a bearish on oil at the end of November, but when last week we dropped below prior lows after the 9, this is telling me we're going down into a 13. Now, this is a reversal candle, and we might, bounce back up to $50 or so, but I remain a bear in oil, looking for the sequential, looking for the countdown phase to 13.
Yeah, it's all right. I will let you guys go. It was an 8.2% rise, which was the biggest climb since November 2016. I think WTI should be pretty interesting, but Russia, OPEC news. Okay, and back to Bitcoin news. I have to leave you guys. Jimmy, Nick, Tone, I will be listening to what you guys say about the news later. And I'm missing this afternoon morning brief, but Bye, guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Lee. Thanks for joining. Hey, Nick, quick thoughts on oil if you have any, and then Jimmy brought some
I
stories.
don't.
Cover.
Yeah, no thoughts on oil other than like what Leah said. That's about all my oil conversations go nowadays, what she's been playing. So, Leah, are you still there? Oh, she's gone already.
Yeah, Leah's gone. All right, Jimmy, anything good in the world of Bitcoin news? Bring it.
All right. Well, we got a bunch of stuff. I put all those in for you. I don't know if you want to bring them up and share. But,
sure. Where'd you throw them in? Which group chat?
The morning brief one.
Oh, I got it. Okay, you want to go through them one by one?
Yeah. Let's start with the basis one because that one's hilarious.
All right, basis. What do we?
It's a tweet by Phil Crypto 77.
Okay, let's do it. There we go. This one.
Yeah.
Right,
well, you got to screen.
Oh wait, I got to do screen share. My bad. Hold on.
Yeah.
All right, I'll read it out for the audio podcast. So Phil Crypto 77. I'm not really familiar with his work. You may have to clue us in here. Let me see here. Basis protocol refund update. Investors who used Ethereum or Bitcoin are taking a 75% plus hit on their investment, while USD investors are getting nearly everything back. This despite being pegged to USD at the time of investment for all investors. Now, who's this Phil guy? Bitcoin in Bitcoin since 2013, monetary economist, maximalist, thoughts on my own. Yeah. That's obvious stuff. Okay, so what the hell is the Basis protocol?
Okay, so the Basis protocol was supposed to be a stable coin that was algorithmically traded, and there was a lot of investment, including by A16Z and a bunch of other people. But the key to Basis, which was like their secret sauce, if you will, was that they would issue these bonds if it dropped below $1, and if it went above $1, then they would issue more of the token and so on. So it was basically an automated central bank, and that was the idea behind Basis. But about like a few weeks ago, what they announced was that, okay, well, they can't get over all of the regulatory hurdles. So everybody that invested in Basis, they were like, we're going to give the money back. What's interesting about this, and I think Phil's apparently an investor in the Basis protocol, is that if you used Ethereum or Bitcoin to invest in Basis, you are taking a huge hit in USD terms because a lot of the investment came on earlier this year. But if you invested with US dollars, you're getting the US dollars back, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. This is one of those stories which say play stupid games, win stupid prizes. They were sort of like a hot Silicon Valley thing, like about 6, 7, 8 months ago, and now it's come to a crashing halt because of the regulatory uncertainty. Not only that, but because of this giant bear market. Like this. Anyway. The second tweet is even better. What's even better is USD investors are getting back 93% of their USD, while BTC and ETH investors are only getting back 90% of their BTC or ETH. Anyway, just thought it was hilarious. What are your thoughts, Tone, on these stable coins?
It was a stupid project that should have never existed. Like, I'm so tired of these like fiat coins on the Ethereum blockchain. They're totally useless.
How much are they refunding total?
I think it's in the hundreds of millions. I'm not sure. There was a significant investment. I'm not sure exactly how much, but I know A16Z, I think Lightspeed, but a bunch of like significant VCs went a lot of money into Basis.
So Jimmy, what database is Basis protocol using to move their shitcoin around?
Well, I mean, it's basically they made their own blockchain, and it had an algorithmic central bank. That was the idea behind it.
So it was on their own It was on their own blockchain.
Yeah, that was the idea. They hadn't built anything yet, but they
haven't done anything yet.
Yeah, of course, and they're not going to.
So there's no actual token to be traded.
No, They were going to build it, but then they ran into some regulatory stuff, and they didn't specify exactly why they're refunding all their investors their money. But they were concluding that.
Can they admit that their project was always stupid to begin with, maybe?
No. Well, they said they couldn't overcome certain regulatory hurdles, so they're just going to refund the money.
But what blockchain they were going to build? How are they going to secure it? How was it going to be different from an Oracle database?
I don't think it was, but I mean, there was a lot of money in this, and that's why to me it's interesting, because there were so many players in it. I wish they would have kind of lost more, because it was kind of a stupid project in my opinion. But I've looked into these algorithmic stable coins, and they always have some sort of flaw. The bond sale, turns out, had a 5-year expiration. So if it was more like an option, where if after 5 years, the coin, like there weren't enough redemptions, then you would just lose your money. So that was the hold that I found in the basis protocol documentation and white paper. I've actually been tasked to look into it at some point and so on. But anyway, that was an interesting story. You wanna take a look at this next one? You can read it for the podcast.
Yeah. So layoffs are underway amid adjustments. Bitcoin miner Bitmain confirms. Interesting. All right. So that's not something you want to do right before you go IPO. Anything. The post has generated 200 replies. So how many people are they down to?
It says it's affirmative. The layoff will start next week. It's 50% layoff. And then I don't know, can you click on Samson Mao's tweet? Because he's getting different information from some of the Chinese chats. It's not in the story. It's in the chat.
Not in the article.
But
I'm sure Samson is alone with this.
Yeah. Oh, he is. You should. Let me read this tweet. Reports in China are now saying that Bitmain layoffs are likely to be as high as 85%, not 50%. All non-essential business units are cut. Teams working on AI initiatives are decimated. So I don't know if you guys remember, but they had this whole ASIC manufacturing called the SOFON, which was supposed to be for the AR market. They knew they were too heavy into the Bitcoin mining, so they were trying to expand. But apparently that whole division is getting just cut. They're not going to do anything with that anymore. Jihan was throwing money around like a drunken sailor for a while. Looks like all of those are going to get cut. We know that the entire Bitmain operation in Tel Aviv, Israel, is that whole staff was laid off. There's another whole bunch of people in China apparently that are getting laid off. This is like, I can't imagine this is going to look good for their IPO bid. But not only that, but the fact that they're doing this beforehand, is this a signal to investors, Tone? I don't know how traditional markets work that well, but
it's so bad. They're done. Bitmain is done. We've been talking about Bitmain being done for months. They're just done. They just fell short of getting the IPO out. I think they're mostly responsible for the latest Bcash pump because they got to try to salvage as much money as they can. Either they're going to exit through an IPO, or they're going to have to try and sell their Bcash stack at the highest price they can. So that's such an illiquid market. It's going to take them a little bit of money to pump that shit even more, and then they can exit at a slightly better price. Bitmain is just done. A year from now, I'm hoping we can talk about them the way we talk about Butterfly Labs.
Nick, any thoughts on this?
I wouldn't count on that last statement Tone made. A year from now, I have a feeling we'll still be talking about them. And yeah, I don't think they're going anywhere. This is definitely a disaster, but I think they'll be fine a year from now.
Yeah, the fact that they're laying off now actually, I think, shows some fiscal discipline, because they have been sort of spending way too much. They've been funding all sorts of stuff. But all right. So let's go on to this next story. This is about Bitcoin Private. Rhett Creighton's creation from like, I think it was back in March or April, somewhere around there. It was basically a merger of Z Classic and Bitcoin. And basically they told everybody it's a fork of Bitcoin, that it's going to be the same as Z Classic. Z Classic, which grew out of Zcash, they Red created that as a way to say, okay, this is the same as Zcash, except without the pre-mine or the dev tax or the pre-mine that Zcash had. And that was what Zcash was, or Z Classic was, and he merged it with Bitcoin to create Bitcoin Private. And the idea was it's going to be a hard fork of Bitcoin. It's going to be the same. The thing that was found out in this article is that there are 2.04 additional units that were covertly mined. So they had a stealth pre-mine. They didn't tell anybody about it. And basically, these are all in shielded transactions on, because they're using the Zcash privacy technology. These are what you would call shielded transactions. So no one really examined if they were there or not. But they go through this analysis about how they basically told everybody that there wasn't a pre-mine. But then, like if you just did any sort of reasonable, analysis of it, you found out very quickly that they had a significant pre-mine, 2 million coins apparently.
I've always considered Red a scammer, and I haven't blocked. I've had him blocked on Twitter for over a year. I've tried warning people about this guy is a liar and a scammer. No one listens. Everyone is like, oh, he's doing good things. He's doing good things. And I'm not surprised by this at all. Like, the only thing that would surprise me is that if Zcash and Z Classic don't have something similar to this, because I don't trust any of these coins, that would surprise me. That's one of the things that I never liked about Zcash itself either. Like, you don't know if this is or has happened to Zcash. And it's hard to prove otherwise. You can only prove it when you find it. It's very hard to prove that it wasn't there until somebody finds it.
So here's how this one works. And the way Zcash works from a technical perspective is that you can know the sum of all of the shielded transactions or shielded UTXOs, basically. So you know the supply of them. And what this post is saying is, okay, we did some analysis. If you look at Z Classic, there's only like 300,000 coins that were shielded at the time. So that's how much should be on BTCP. But then after the fork, they realized, okay, there's now 2,300,000 shielded coins. So something happened. Where did these coins come from? And anyone could have figured this out. It's just that no one was really actually paying attention to BTCP.
Well, of course not, because no one paid attention to these shit coins. This is what I keep saying about.
What's the cap of this now, dollar-wise?
The other crap.
Market cap, I think it's like $2 per BTCP. So I would say around 30 million, 35 million.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like it dropped significantly. At one point, this was trading, I think, at around $40 or $50, if I'm not mistaken. And then, I mean, it's dropped.
I was seeing like $900 predictions and stuff from some non-analysts on Twitter when this was all going down.
Yeah, I mean, like the story was pretty good, right? Like they had a good marketing story. It's the same as Bitcoin, except you get privacy. And Bitcoin private, 37 million. It's below $2 now. Wow. Okay. After this story came out, it dropped immediately from like $2.40 to below $2. But you can see the price was all the way up to like $70 at one point, and this was right after launch. A lot of people liked it, but it's kind of crazy. But this. It's hilarious how much of the
the price was 77 on its second go around. It was $77, and right after launch it hit about 85, 86.
I'm glad I got out.
And it's now below $2. I'm not, again, like, I didn't even know this thing. Like, I didn't care. I never cared. Like anything that Red does to me is an outright scam. He pretends.
So interesting thing about Rhett is that he left the project, and one of the things in the post that was implied was he said something cryptic right before he left, like the other developers aren't revealing something to the public, and speculation was he left because one of the developers put in this code for the shielded transactions to self pre-mine 2 million coins. And Jameson Lopp tracked down like what happened, like who actually ended up getting control of the repository and so on. And apparently Rhett gave full access control to some unknown developer that he never met before. And speculation is that this developer added the pre-mine without and basically overruled Rhett, and Rhett ended up leaving the project. So
well, right, and we have no idea, and for all I know, that was Rhett himself, because I find them.
That's how scammers have longevity, though, is they leave projects before they're finished. Like McCaleb, for instance, how many projects has he bounced around to now?
Well, Ripple, Mt. Gox, Stellar now. Who knows if he's and Dan Larimer. I think he's left EOS now. Also Steam. And of course, what was the other one? BitShares, ProtoShares. I don't know. It's hilarious though. Anyway, those were some. I mean, what's your like? Are we gonna see more of this kind of thing? Like people doing idiotic things, I guess.
Yeah, you're gonna see a lot more because no one is looking at this code. I just spent like 2 hours arguing with Ernie Hancock of Freedom's Phoenix. I know most people in Bitcoin aren't familiar with this work. It was the first radio show I've ever been on in 2014 talking about this stuff. And he's been convinced onto the Bitcoin cash chain. And
which one? ABC or SV?
ABC. And because he was always good friends with Roger Ver. I mean, he's been in Bitcoin since like 2011 from the early days because he ran a libertarian show. So everyone comes on there, tries to convince him of their latest shitcoin, whether it's Zcash, Zencash, Monero, or God knows, Bitcoin Private, God knows what else, right? And they're telling him all this bullshit about how their coin is, more private because he's all about the privacy. And I keep trying to explain to him, no one, and then he thinks that, Blockstream is like working with the banks and they're all like, it's a conspiracy theory. And I'm like, everyone is looking at the Bitcoin code. If there is garbage in the Bitcoin code, we will know it. If there is a bug in the Bitcoin code, we will know it. The fact that other bug, the one that the one that Matt Carella was involved with, the fact that bug lasted for so long, that shows you that so many people are looking at Bitcoin and they missed that bug. Can you imagine every other piece of code in this space? It's complete and utter garbage. And I'm like trying to explain to him, no one is looking at the Bcash code, and they put in these checks, these checkpoints. So that means one or two of their developers is going to sneak in some garbage, and no one is going to look at it for 2 weeks, and boom, it's in a checkpoint.
Yeah, I mean, they did like 7 or 8 updates of their software in like the span of like 3 days. Who knows what the heck is in there?
Right.
But regardless, yeah, it's kind of crazy that people trust these things. It's kind of weird to me that so many people are so trusting.
Yep. And all right, we got one more here.
And this is based on this is a story from TechCrunch. As Bitcoin sinks, industry startups are forced to cut back. And this is all about how so many companies, and I think it was triggered by the Bitmain layoffs story, which we talked about a little bit earlier. But it's not just Bitmain; it's Huobi, it's like Consensus and Steam. If you notice a pattern here, it's all of these companies that aren't doing that well, right? Like that put a lot of money into.
Well, it's all of these companies where the only business model was to pump their token.
Yeah, and that seems to be the pattern here. But they're trying to lump it in with Bitcoin. So TechCrunch, shame on you. It's more about like these altcoins that are going down. I hear Blockstream is still hiring, BitGo is still hiring. A lot of companies that aren't so heavy into altcoins, they're still hiring. I mean, like, Tone, what do you make of this story? What's their angle here? Why would they put out something like this?
What do you mean, like TechCrunch?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a story that people are going to read, right? Like, you're right. Like, the Bitmain thing triggered it. And we did hear layoffs at Steam and layoffs at Consensus, your friend Joe Lubin. And like, again, Consensus business model was to do what? Consulting and convince people to use the inefficiency of Ethereum. And at one point, Consensus had like, what, 1,000 employees? 2,000 employees. I remember like a year ago, I was meeting like college interns that were getting college credit by going to like Consensus as interns. Like, it was it's a disaster, right? So, and the only thing that was sustainable for that business is the pumping of the Ethereum token. And now that people are recognizing that Ethereum token is totally useless, the whole company goes down the toilet, right? Because when your company's only revenue is the stock of that company going up, you end like the dot-com crisis. You have no business. Like, Steemit has no business. Their business is to write articles to promote Steemit so that the token goes up in price. That's it. That's the business model. Like that. Like, none of this shit is sustainable when the only thing you're looking for is to raise your stock price, and then people are mad at like Wall Street, where stocks only exist for real companies with real revenue and real products. People make fun of GoPro, which is down 95% of its stock price, and they're still making out new models of GoPro. Go and buy it. Everyone, it's still pretty damn good. I heard the new ones are awesome, and people are saying how that's ridiculous. Well, yeah, what the hell is Steemit making?
Yeah, their own token, basically. Yeah, it's in a bear market. I can't wait for a lot more of these companies. Any predictions, guys, on the next company to announce giant layoffs?
Oh, good question. Let me think about it for a second.
Coinbase.
I think they get too big for their britches and start spending too much and then have to reel it back. I don't know.
Well, I mean, they did raise a significant amount, but so did Bitmain. And I heard they raised in the $800 million range from Sequoia this past year. Like that's a lot of money, yet they're still having to lay off like 50% to 85%.
I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with Zcash. I'm gonna go with the company of Zcash doing layoffs, because I mean, all of their money comes from pumping the token, convincing stupid people that their token is actually private, and the mining scheming that they do by taking profits from the miners. So I wouldn't be surprised if they start doing layoffs as their token continues to go down.
I bet this year we start seeing a lot of exchanges, like at least the ones that are semi-regulated, like Kraken and whatnot, start to do a lot of layoffs, probably second quarter or so.
I don't know about that. I know Kraken has a lot of employees, right? But Kraken actually has a business, right? I mean, Kraken is earning money in fiat. They're not earning money by the token of Kraken going up in price because they don't have a token of Kraken. So I think if Kraken is hiring properly and they're expending properly, unless all those lawsuits against Kraken start taking a toll, I think they'll be fine.
What lawsuits against Kraken?
Oh, there's like 3 of them out there.
All right, I'll Google it then. First I heard of it.
I'm gonna go with Neo. I know there's like a foundation in China and stuff like that. I can't imagine they're doing that well. I mean, they still have like a $500 million market cap for their coin, but they were sustaining themselves significantly on hype, specifically in Asia. I think there's still a lot of that hype in Asia that I think will come down in the next couple of quarters. You can see it hitting Bitmain and Huobi. I think the next one will also be in Asia. I'm gonna go with Neo.
How many employees does like Ripple have, the corporation?
They actually don't spend that much money. They spend all their money on like regulatory stuff and putting
No,
out press.
I think Ripple's immune because Ripple has like a billion. How many billions of dollars do they have? I think they'll be fine.
They have so much of the token and their market cap's so high.
No, Ripple. What happened here? I'm not too worried about Ripple because again, Ripple isn't necessarily dependent on the value of that token, and the value of that token, even if the value of that token goes back to a penny, there's still hundreds of millions of dollars deep into this shit. Ripple is a scam upon mountains of proportions.
Did you ever answer the question on how Tether pays their employees? I remember you were questioning it last year.
Oh no, because Tether is owned by Bitfinex, right? So and Bitfinex makes money from transaction fees.
Yeah, but technically, are they paying like everybody on the Tether team from Bitfinex? They're not.
But what Tether team? It's probably like 4 people. Like you don't really need it. You need like 2 guys to make sure the Omni protocol still functions, and like 1 guy to make sure that the Tether tokens get printed and moved. Like there isn't really
and about 40 lawyers for their banking relations, apparently.
No, I'm pretty sure it's like 2. Probably just make sure that the money's in the bank. But I'm reading reports now that the Tether doesn't have the money in the bank. I thought that came across my radar. Yeah, so I don't think Tether has that many people, and it's. Are
you talking about the Crypto Slate article?
Maybe. What is it?
Yeah, Crypto Slate. So Leah just sent it to me. New evidence suggests Tether does not have the dollars it claims. Here, I'll put it in chat here.
Crypto Slate. Yeah, throw it in the chat. I'll pull it up.
Right here. I have not read it, by the way.
No, we'll pull it up now.
Leah was just talking about it.
Oh, wait. Hold on. I can't grab the link.
Oh, there it is. You got it.
Oh, is that it? I wasn't
yeah.
sure if I can grab the link or not.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Wow.
All right.
Tether does not have it. Huh, what's the evidence in this one?
Reports from a central bank of the Bahamas. I didn't know that from the Bahamas. Yeah, so like I said, I don't think there's that many people in control of Tether. That's why all this controversy. And the subsidiary of Bitfinex, which is actually making...
Who's ultimately in control of Tether, in your opinion?
Who's ultimately in control of Tether?
Mm-hmm.
Whoever the CEO of Bitfinex is.
Right.
Which is also a big controversy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they're still structured out of Panama, I think. Bitfinex is.
Yeah, it's this guy Vanderved that nobody knows who the hell he is, and there's just too many shell companies, and like he goes by a different. I've seen him by different names. So
that structure they have in Panama, I don't think this has been in any of the news, but the holding company they have there is owned by a private interest foundation. I don't think this is covered anywhere, but in Panama, a private interest foundation is not actually owned by anybody. Legally, it is there is no ownership of it. The only record is who set it up, which attorney, which there is a record of that. It's the same attorney that's been setting up 20 or 30 companies for the same group. But if they keep that structure, technically Panama is that Panama structure is completely anonymously owned, and like even the country of Panama would have no legal recourse on these guys whatsoever if they did anything.
Right. Like, look, here's an article from over a year ago. Finding Vandervelde, a mission to unmask the CEO of the world's largest Bitcoin exchange. And this is an article that's a year old. It's a giant shit show over there. Phil Potter worked there for a long time. He was defending it for a long time, and then he quit. So I'm not.
Well, he's still defending it, actually, but yeah. We'll see.
Well, I remember him looking very, very differently when I looked at pictures of him years ago. So no one knows what the hell is going on over there, which is why I think it's crazy when people trade on there. And ironically, when someone did like an independent report the other day of which exchanges have honest and legitimate trading volume, Bitfinex was one of the two that passed. Like, you can't make this shit up.
So
Well, I mean-
they're saying at least actual real orders going in.
Right.
Maybe not so much real funds, but real orders going in and out.
Well,
So
it's one of these
let's
things
say
where, like,
hypothetically, Tether collapsed. Like completely just went away, right? Whether it's a scam or they just shut down, whatever it is. What would that do to BTC price?
I'll probably jump it up to like 5 or 6 grand, probably double it overnight.
Why double it overnight?
Hmm?
Why would it double overnight if Tether goes away?
Well, we already saw that, right? Remember the panic right after I did my short trade? People panicked. Tether dropped 20% because everyone that's holding Tether would have to sell it as fast as possible for Bitcoin.
Right.
It doesn't go away. Like, it's not going to go away. Like, the rumors are going to spread, right? Like what happened before. I mean, I can pull up the Tether, right? I mean, we can. I probably have charts of Tether versus Bitcoin.
Do you think we can still have a bull market similar to the last one without Tether?
What do you mean, like the 2017?
Yeah, with that type of rapid rallies and that type of strength.
Oh yeah, no. I continue like all throughout that bull market. I said that Tether had, in my opinion, Tether had maybe 10 to 20% influence on the rise in Bitcoin prices in 2017. Now, I think that probably even less than that. I think that Tether had no more than a 10% direct influence on the rise in prices. Now, it probably had a 40% indirect influence, right? So, like, if you can bump the price up by by 10%, then you could cause more confidence and people believe in it. And then all of these people like Bitfinex tweeting out, Bitcoin can't fall. They're going to print more Tether. They're going to support Bitcoin, kind of like the stock market can't fall. The Fed and the plunge protection team will keep it from falling. So that gives you, unless you're like a conspiracy theorist and a libertarian, you start to buy into this and say, hey, if the stock market falls, then the plunge protection team is going to save me. Therefore, I'm going to put more money into the stock market. Now, that's I guess the right way to think about it. So I think Tether had a giant indirect effect and not a direct effect. But either way, we were going to get that bull market. I don't think Tether had all that much to do with it. And hey, if Tether was actually able to keep pumping the market, we would have never had a correction. We'd still be going up. So I don't think Tether has all that much to do with it. But as Tether is collapsing, everyone would try to sell their Tether for 50 cents on the dollar and try to jump into Bitcoin because that's the only place they can go. You're not going to, sell your Tether.
If they had the option to do that.
Bitcoin.
Yeah, if they had the option to do that. I mean, if something catastrophic happened with Tether, I would assume exchanges would shut down all Tether BTC trading, as in like they were outed as an actual scam or something.
Right. But again, it's like the indirect one, right? Like if Tether goes down, people are going to speculate what the reason is and no one's going to know. So if Tether goes down, why would you trust the Chinese version of Tether that Binance is doing, right? Why would you trust any other clone of Tether? Like if Tether goes under, why on earth would you trust any other stable coin? So Tether going under creates fear in other stable coins for the same reason that Tether went down. Like, how do you trust them? So Tether going down is going to push people out of all of the stable coins and into Bitcoin.
I think Tether's going to get even more use in this next bull market too. Now that they've opened up leverage trading on Bitfinex, everyone's talking like this is a really big deal. But in all honesty, if some of these big institutions end up holding millions of dollars worth of Tether, they want to protect themselves with leverage, but by opening up leverage shorts on the fluctuations of Tether. But yeah, what are your thoughts on leverage on Tether on Bitfinex now?
Look, Bitfinex is opportunistic. Hey, if these idiots want to trade what we say is a stable coin and we can charge them to trade this stuff, fine, we'll trade it. Hey, I wouldn't be surprised if Bitfinex says, hey, we will let you trade US dollars for US dollars because there's people stupid enough to actually start trading this shit and they get to collect a fee for it, right? There's
a lot more competition though. You got USDC. You got like Paxos Standard and a bunch of others.
Well, no, but Jimmy, but we're specifically talking like if Bitfinex owns Tether, right? Mm-hmm. And Bitfinex is saying Tether is a stable coin where one Tether equals $1. Why would Bitfinex allow you to trade Tether against the dollar, right? Like
Yeah, the only place you can do that is Kraken, and I
you
imagine
can do it on Bitfinex now with leverage. That's the point. Like Bitfinex has opened leverage trading on Tether versus the dollar, and Bitfinex owns Tether, and they're saying that it equals $1, right? Like this is the comedy of it.
Wow.
At least they're opening up a hedge for some of the big Tether holders, or Bitfinex users.
Right. So basically, if I'm the CEO of Bitfinex, I go like this. So whether it is fully backed or not is now irrelevant. If these idiots want to pay me money to trade my US dollars for other US dollars, I'm happy to take the commission on this.
Yeah, of course.
Interesting. Yeah, I these stable coins though, it'll man, I can't I get why people use it, but they unless they're fully backed, I can't imagine them being very good for anybody because it's a giant central point of failure, security hole, choke point, whatever you want to call it.
Man. All right. Well, in the meantime, Tether is worth more than $1. So clearly this article saying that Tether isn't backed isn't doing anything for it, right? Like people would rather hold Tether than Bitcoin right now, which isn't very good, but which doesn't mean very good things for the Bitcoin bull market in the near future. Like if people are prefer to hold the Tether.
Yeah, it's weird because I know Bitfinex has like a little bit of a premium over everybody else, and I always assumed that was because of the Tether-based trading.
Well, not anymore. I mean, look at this is Kraken. This is USD Tether versus the dollar on Kraken, and it's worth over $1.
Hey, Tone.
Yeah.
Tone, add Bitcoin's price on there. Compare it, Kraken's Bitcoin price on it. I want to see how the price of the USD pair fluctuates when Bitcoin makes major moves. It'd be XBT actually, if we're gonna stick with Kraken.
Is XBT on Kraken? Okay.
That one.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, you're going to have to like somehow scale it the right way.
So right click on your screen and turn it off percentage. So just right click anywhere. Yeah, there you go.
No, it doesn't really help because now it's linear. No, that's not what I was supposed to do. I'm gonna do it a different way. It's I think it's this.
It'll basically reach above $1 as long as there's no major news happening with Tether. Every time we hit the top of a cycle, and we just hit the top of a small cycle. So there we go.
Right. It's been after this.
Well, there's a lot of volume.
That can tell me right there the fact that it's been raising up since we started bottoming there. I mean, it's even that tells me that quite a bit of people were going into USDT to buy up that bottom right there.
Huh.
I mean, this is that big upswing in the price of Bitcoin as the price of Tether crashed. But then the last time, the time after that the price of Tether crashed, Bitcoin crashed this time because nobody cared.
It looks like there's a lot of activity. The Tether activity is more indicative of volume and not price necessarily. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, I mean, ever since we fell out of that 6K range right there, you can see it's kind of like steadily gone up into almost like a rising wedge, even though you wouldn't put a rising on that.
My view on it is this: when Bitcoin's volatility is what's most important. Tether is a news event. When there is nothing going on, and Tether is the news event of the week, it will affect the price of Bitcoin. But when Bitcoin has its own shit going on, nobody cares about Tether. Like it doesn't affect it. Like Bitcoin's price moving is 90%, and what Tether does is 10%. But when Bitcoin is not doing anything and Tether is the news cycle, that 10% of the news cycle of Tether can cause panic in Bitcoin, but it doesn't work the other way around.
Interesting stuff. All right. So how much more do we have on the show to go, guys?
That's it, guys. I want to wrap it up. You want to do any announcements, Jimmy?
Well, so my 2 seminars are happening at the next 2 conferences I'll be at. One of them is your conference, Tone, Unconfiscatable. I don't know, Nick, if you're going to be there, but that's going to be.
Yep, he's playing poker, man. Nick's pretty good, man. Nick knows how to play.
Scene there. Yeah, I'll be there making a scene.
All right, so that'll be fun. And then the other one is in February 7th and 8th, Advancing Bitcoin Conference 2019. I'm going to have seminars at both events before the first 2 days of Unconfiscatable and the 2 days after Advancing Bitcoin. Both will be very good events. They're, I guess, what I would call maximalist and not like, timeshare presentations or whatever. So I'm very happy about that. I'm going to try to attend a lot more of those this year rather than going to other things that I don't necessarily agree with. So please sign up if you are interested in my seminar or interested in these conferences. So that's all I'm going to show today.
I'm with you. I'm on the same schedule. I got both of those conferences. I'll be there as well, obviously, at the Unconfiscatable one, since I put that one together. And I will be in London as well. I'll be doing my workshop there as well, but it's not, registration is not open yet for that.
Great.
All right, Nick, anything else? Anything you want to say? Nick?
I don't think he is.
Yeah, it might have been I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Closing thoughts?
Yeah, what'd you say? Closing thoughts. Okay, it tuned in right as I heard Nick, so I had no idea what you were asking. No closing thoughts at all, actually. Getting over the flu still, so low energy right now.
All right. Hey, guys, thank you for coming on. It was a great show. We talked about price in the beginning of the show. We're closing out with almost 1,700 viewers. This is great. Definitely getting a lot more views on my channel, a lot of subscribers. I broke 80,000 the other day. I'm already almost at 81,000 subscribers. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for following the work. And I will see you all tomorrow. I got the law show tomorrow as well. We'll try and bring you the Bitcoin brief in the morning. And hey, I hope everyone had a good Christmas. And New Year's is coming up. It's going to be a lot of fun, guys.
All right. This song is done.
See you all on the next one. Good luck trading.